2, 1, go!
First place.
Hello and welcome to this episode of the Electronic Eggs podcast. Sorry for it being so long between recordings, but I was away filming and then I had some holiday, so I did not want to record anything whilst away and having time with my kids and stuff. As I'm sure you can understand, that's why we didn't do anything. Plus, I asked other people if they could step up, but sadly they also could not do it. But yes, today we're going to talk about the PSP, and joining me to talk about the PlayStation Portable is Darren Jones.
Hello.
And we've got the kind of regular now, Thomas.
Yeah, hello everyone. Nice to be here again.
Thank you both for joining me. This is kind of like the follow-on to our DS episode that we did, what was that, June? Yes.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, I really, when we were talking on the DS episode, I started talking about the PSP. So I thought we should probably do a PSP cast so we can actually cover that platform properly rather than in passing. So guys, so the PSP launched back in 2004 in Japan, which seems like not long ago in my head, but that's 22 years ago. Well, October 2004, but you know, nearly 22 years ago, which is insane.
It sure is, especially if you look at the system today. It still looks so wonderfully modern and so wonderfully it's just a beautiful piece of hardware, I think.
Oh yeah, absolutely stunning piece of hardware. And can I be honest as well? I really love the XMB.
Works great on the PSP, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like on the PSP, it's a fantastic piece. Darren, what was your first initial impression when you first saw the PSP?
Well, I got one on import from, I want to say, I'm pretty sure it was Lixang, back in the day. So I had one pretty much as soon as they were available. And the most egregious thing for me was that a 1 gigabyte memory stick cost me £100.
Yeah.
So I paid obviously a decent amount for the actual console, and then it was basically around a third of the price just to buy the memory stick. But yeah, it was amazing.
It's just like today, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
1 gigabyte now is a fortune, but yeah, it was shocking back then for the price of that.
Yeah, I was on GameSteam at the time, and you had so many people from the other mags coming over to look at it because while the original PSP screen does not look anywhere near as good as the more recent iterations of it, it was astonishing to see something like that back then. And things like Ridge Racer just really, really impressed people. So I've got a lot of love for the PSP, and I had one pretty much around the same time as the DS because I imported that as well. And I found that the two systems complemented each other really well because they both excelled at doing different things.
They did, yeah. So when PlayStation originally announced this in the May of 2004, so from May into October, that's such a quick lead time in getting that system out the door, because it didn't feel as rushed as, say, Nintendo's DS when that came out, like in terms of like, the actual design of the original DS, like we spoke about last time. Wasn't a pretty looking thing, but it was at least improved from the E3 showing that they had. Whereas the PSP, okay, it was like as soon as you saw it, it was like, yeah, this thing is stunning. You know, it's a gorgeous bit of kit. But yeah, so for those who don't know, the PSP came out and had a unusual format. It was called the UMD, the Universal Media Disc, which was kind of like a mini disc, but could hold just about 1.8 gigabytes of data. So it was quite a beefy little machine, really. So yeah, it was something that really was a Sony product, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? With the fact that Sony's outside of PlayStation, everything they did looked very good and sleek, and the design was always amazing.
Mhm.
And this looked like that. Like it looked like a Sony product rather than like PlayStation, because all the PlayStations, as much as I like the designs, they weren't as Sony like, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I absolutely get what you mean. Yeah.
I think that ties in as well, though, to the part that they were at the time of the E3, they were really touting it as a catch-all for your entire entertainment. So they wanted it to be obviously your one-stop place for music, for gaming, for watching movies. So I guess if you're going to do something like that, you need to move it away from the traditional console look. And yeah, like you said, it was very sleek, in line with a lot of their other products that they were releasing at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and no, that's also what I did actually. I really used it for games. I used it for music. I used it to show photos to people. So it was really a wonderful sort of all-in-one package. However, I never watched a movie on UMD. That was a bit stupid.
Oh, I had a couple. I used to get told off at work, actually, because I would play things like, I think you got Spider-Man 3 with it, and
Oh yeah, I did
I
it.
would play films while I was working, and they'd be like, well, you can't watch movies while you're working, and it's like, I'm not watching the movie, I'm listening to it. So how is that any different from when I'm listening to MP3s? Because obviously most people at the time had the iPods. So yeah, I normally just listen to a film while I had
Yeah.
mine out at work, as much as music. So I got quite into the UMDs because I quite like films, but unless you are doing a lot of traveling, yeah, they're not very practical. I mean, they're not the sort of things you want to watch on a big screen because the image quality wasn't really there.
No, that's
So I
true.
wonder now because I mean, as we all know, the battery life was a bit short, infamously. Did it hold
Yeah.
up through an entire film? Did that work?
I always used to have mine plugged in constantly at work, so it was
Oh yeah,
never an issue.
okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I managed to watch Spider-Man 2 on a charge.
Okay, so that did work.
Yeah,
I think sorry,
you could get
carry
about
on.
you could get about 3 hours, I think, out of the PSP, the original one. But I think it moved to about 5 hours by the time they got to the 3000.
Yeah, and the other thing to remember, I guess, with a film with regards to a game is it's passive. So all it's got to do is play. It doesn't have to worry about, the CPU isn't being pushed in any particular way or anything. So I think the whole thing is that obviously if Sony said, "Hey, look, here's a device that you can play movies on, but you won't be able to watch an entire movie because you're going to need to charge it," it would have been dead in the water. So I wouldn't have been surprised if they'd always targeted to ensure that an average movie you'd be able to watch in full, providing you hadn't done anything else.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually.
Yeah, So for me, I watched a few movies like everyone. I got Spider-Man 2 free with it. But yeah, I got a few more just because I was doing a bit of traveling back then.
Hmm.
So I managed. Yeah, I don't think I bought anything. Like, what did I buy? I bought Transformers the movie, the 1986 one. Um, I know that. I'm trying to think of the other ones. I think I maybe bought like two more, but I can't think what they were. I didn't buy anything amazing like Van Wilder or Little Britain compilation or anything like that. But yeah, let's go through. So we have briefly touched on that. So on our histories. But Thomas, when were you first? When did you first get yours? Was it launch?
Yeah, I was pretty lucky in that regard because back in the day, I was also in the games press. I was a freelancer for one of the bigger magazines in Germany, also the one that had the official PlayStation license back in the day. And so we got one into our office very early, I think within days of the DS. And of course, I mean, everybody was blown away by that thing. It came with Ridge Racer, it came with Luminous, and just seeing that thing, that beautiful piece of hardware, turning it on, seeing that for back then amazing screen, it was really very impressive. And people were basically standing in line to take it home for a night or two. So yeah, so I was on board pretty early with the Japanese one. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, so you were there 2004. That's pretty impressive. Yeah,
Yep.
it's very impressive. And Darren, you were you Japanese launch as well, or
I was the same. So I had Ridge Racer, Chaos Tower, the
Darkstalkers game, right?
Darkstalkers game.
Mm.
And was Luminous an actual Japan launch?
I think it was.
No, it wasn't. Was it? I thought
No.
it
It
was
wasn't.
America
Oh.
and Europe that got it at launch. I think.
But I definitely had those two. I don't think I had anything else because the bloody memory cards were just so sodden expensive. So all my spare cash was like going on that because again, I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure you couldn't save anything to the actual PSP itself, so you needed to have a memory card to save a game.
Yeah, you did. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, because obviously it was a
Actually,
disc.
proprietary memory stick. It was
Yes,
called.
the what was it? The Memory Stick Duo.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just those two games that I had, but I would have had access to more simply for like reviews and things like that.
Yeah, I got mine first of all on American import, but then later sold it because I got one free as I was working at PlayStation at the time. So I got into the office in the morning on the day of the launch, 1st September, and on my desk was a copy of the game we'd worked on, which was Medieval Resurrection, and a PSP to go with it.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool. Yeah. So I got rid of my American unit. And kept.
Oh, by the way, I just checked. Luminous was a Japanese launch title.
Oh, it was. It seemed. Oh, right.
Nice. I may not have played that until the PSP release in the UK. Yeah, I can't remember. I definitely remember having Ridge Racer and Darkstalkers though.
Yeah, I mean, Ridge Racer was just the killer application for the system. Everybody had to have that.
Yeah,
and
it was pretty
Pure
amazing
as well. Wipeout Pure on the PSP as well. That was absolutely divine. Such good game.
Very impressive game. Yeah.
Yeah. So the actual UK, well, the European launch was actually really, really bloody good. Actually, so you had Ape Academy, which was okay. Dynasty Warriors, which was not great. NFL Sports. EA Sports NFL Street 2, Everybody's Golf, which was incredible, Luminaires, Medieval Resurrection, Metal Gear Acid, Midnight Club 3 Dub Edition, NBA Street, Need for Speed Underground Rivals, Spider-Man 2, Tucker Race Driver 2, Tony Hawk's Underground 2 Remix, Darkstalkers Chronicle, The Chaos Tower, and Virtua Tennis World Tour.
That is pretty neat, yeah.
That's a strong lineup in Europe. I think it's actually stronger than the lineup in Japan America, because that's also we also got Ridge Racer, Wipeout Pure as well. So I didn't mention this because we already mentioned them, but they were.
I mean, there's basically half a year
won.
between the two launches.
Yeah, it's a fantastic launch, and then I think it was about 2 weeks later, Burnout Legends came out as well. So it's like really quickly afterwards, you get this version, like this compilation of Burnout as well. It's like, oh my god, this thing's amazing. That was my initial reaction to the PSP was, I don't want to play on a home game console right now. I'm happy with this and my DS. They both offer me something completely different from one another. But
yeah, I mean, of course, the one downside it had were in some games the loading times, which were in some cases hilariously long. But
Yeah.
I think over time the developers really found out to optimize that, and you had few games left that had these annoying loading times.
I think
Yeah,
the
there were some. No, sorry, Garrett. Go on, Darren.
I was going to say, I think one of the other issues as well was the orientation of the screen, because in that where it was obviously widescreen, one of the issues that I found with certain driving games, not all of them, but certain games, particularly if they were converted from PS2 and that, they didn't work quite as well. So some of the Burnout games and some of the other racing games, it was quite hard to see what was coming, because you weren't able to see into the distance as well as you could with if you were playing the PS2 version. And then when you had games like Guitar Man Lives, again, it was trickier to play because you didn't have the same width from the stuff that was coming from the top and the bottom of the screen like it is from the sides, like on the PS2 original. So, some things could be a little trickier to play because everything was so compressed.
It's
But
also an aesthetic thing sometimes because, for example, Darkstalkers, if you played it with its default settings, you had just stretched out sprites, for example, which
yeah,
is of course not a good thing. Or still, luckily in that one, I think you could go back to 4x3. But for example, in Final Fantasy Tactics, which is basically pretty great, um, you had also these stretched out, washed out graphics because they just somehow just blew them up from the PSP from the PS1 resolution, which wasn't that beautiful.
Yeah.
when we had when we reviewed Final Fantasy Tactics, the font that we were using at the time made the actual review look like it said anal fantasy tactics. So
Nice.
that's always the thing that I remember about that PSP game. That ended up looking very rude in our mag.
So going on to that stretched thing as well, there was a Suikoden that was released in Japan, wasn't it?
Mhm.
And they
Yep.
had that same horrible stretch look as well, which was
Are you
disappointing.
sure? Because I have it in my collection. Didn't they just make the view the playfield wider in that one?
For the first one, maybe. The second one, I remember looking really
Huh.
stretched. I may be misremembering it, but I do.
I'd have
But
to
the
check
thing
that
is, I didn't really play it much. I literally played it for a bit, and then was like, I can't play
because
this without a translation.
I do think they used this version as the basis for the current HD remaster we
Yeah,
have.
that's
Oh, really?
correct.
They used the PSP because they used the PS. Didn't they use the PSP one for? No, they rebuilt War of the Lions, didn't they, for the current release?
Yeah, that's a completely new game, the current one.
Yeah.
I think that's why
But
some of the people were upset about Suikoden when it was first released, because they hadn't in actuality done as much to it as they'd actually told everyone. It's just that most people weren't aware that the PSP versions even existed.
Yeah, it didn't come out over here, which was
yeah, I mean, Sony
most
did their
seriously.
best to save us from these stupid old 2D games on the PSP. I
Yeah,
mean, I started making a list of interesting games on the PSP, and so many of them are simply, yeah, that didn't come out because Sony said no, that one didn't come out because Sony said no. It's infuriating.
Although there was still a lot of odd stuff on the console.
I mean, we had more in
Probably,
Europe, especially, but the States, especially United States, were pretty fucked in that regard. Can
yeah.
I say
In
fucked?
Europe, of course you can.
Okay, good.
In Europe, we had a much better range of games released for the
Yeah,
PSP than in America, and a lot of them were published by Sony themselves over here. They did a lot of publishing for stuff, especially on PlayStation Network, for games that didn't come out in America and were just odd or 2D.
yeah. I
Which
think
was
the rule for Nintendo, no, sorry, for Sony USA was we don't want any direct ports from PlayStation or other systems because again, we don't want to look old.
yeah.
So when I look at my list here, the games that didn't come out, that includes stuff like, for example, of course, Suikoden. There's also where is it? Let me see here.
Princess Crown as well, wasn't it? That came out
Yeah,
in
there's
Japan.
no. We didn't get Sakura Wars, for example. We didn't get Tengamakyo. These are all games that various publishers were interested in bringing over. So just
Yeah.
imagine we'd have gotten, for example, something like the Tengamakyo game for the PSP in English. That would be the dream.
Yeah, that would have been a great game to get over here. And like I say, like I was saying as well with Princess Crown coming from Saturn
Mm.
to PSP, I was so excited about that when it was announced. I couldn't wait for it to come out. And yeah, it was the same issue that I had with the Saturn one, which was I don't understand what's going on. As I don't speak
Yeah, I
Japanese.
mean, Sony USA is weird.
Yeah. Yeah, they were bizarre with the weirdest thing is though, like with the PlayStation 1, we got a lot of really weird Japanese titles and America didn't get them, or if they did, they were different publishers and Sony published a lot over here. But we missed out on a load of Square games over here that
Yeah.
Sony published in America. And you're like, oh, why didn't we get those? Why couldn't we got Einhander?
Yeah, Iron Hand
Yeah,
is great.
Einhander
Did we?
is a weird one, but otherwise, others, of course, I understand that because doing the eFix translations would be a ton of work, and at that time, people expected text in their native languages.
Yeah, true.
It's not good, but at least it's somewhat understandable.
Yeah. But yeah, it was very frustrating seeing some of the stuff come out over there. But I mean, I am glad though, being in Europe, that we did actually get the opportunity to get a much better lineup of games than I did in America. And I think there is a lot more fondness for PSP in Europe than there is in America. Like in retrospect, I think there's a lot of people who have a lot of fond memories in Europe of PSP.
Yeah, I mean, talking about that and about the PSP's history, I think you can really see that at some point, Sony, as they like to do, almost dropped it, and it became really big in Japan at that point.
Yeah. Thanks to
Remember when they had that push as well in the UK, where you had things like they had Little Big Planet, Little Big Planet, Assassin's Creed,
Mm.
not Ridge Racer, Gran Turismo, and Arctic.
Motorstorm.
Yeah, Motorstorm. They all came out like, and it was
And
kind of
Rock
like,
Band as well.
yeah. Oh, Rock Band was amazing, but it was basically just like Amplitude, so it was always going to be good.
Yeah, no, that was their, when was that? 2009, wasn't it? When they did a second push for the PSP, but that was when
Yeah.
the 3000, wasn't it, coming out around then? And
Should
they
be, yeah.
yeah, and the PSP Go, which was a great idea, but poorly executed. Yeah,
I had a PSP Go. The other week I shared an old YouTube video I did where it was just me showing off my PSP Go collection, and it's just me pointing to empty shelves saying, "This is GTA, this is Monster Hunter," and and that was, that's got to be like 15 years ago, and it's quite scary how much ahead of the curve they were in some aspects.
I mean, also in the
But,
more positive one, I would add the PSP Go did have a dock for TV play, and that's the Switch, something like 10 years early.
yeah, and that was so good because you could then use your DualShock 3,
Yeah,
sync it to the PSP Go, and
That's
you could
right.
play stuff like I was playing Resistance Retribution through that way on the TV because it had a DualShock 3 settings mode, so it would detect that you are playing on a television, you've got a DualShock 3 connected, and it would play like a proper third-person shooter.
yeah, I must say, this is one of the things I would love to have nowadays, a sort of a consoleized PSP. So
Yeah,
original hardware, this a UMD drive, but HDMI out for modern TV, and maybe some upscaling built in. Doesn't have to be. I have my hardware for that, but that would be an amazing thing to have.
Maybe
yeah,
a blog will make one.
I use my 3000 a lot through Component back then when TVs had component in.
Yeah, same
That was
here.
cool to be able to, because again you could sync up your DualShock 3 and play games, but it was the PSP Go that with the actual dock and things that made it feel like, oh no, this is great. I can just set this against TV and play it, and
And that's of course the sad thing about the sad thing about it. That dock is incredibly expensive nowadays.
Yeah.
yeah, it is.
So
So
you
is
pay
the
something
component
about
cable.
200 if you're lucky.
Yeah, the official component cable as well cost a fortune.
Damn.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, I'm a bit naughty. Most of my PSP gaming now is just done on a Steam Deck because I can have
Yep.
things like achievements.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean the PSP did actually have some really cool peripherals as well. Did you like so they had the camera, which was actually a
Mhm.
really good camera because it had what was it, 15 seconds of video recording capability as well, which you could then edit and things like that. And it was it was like for the time before you had a smartphone, it was so good to be able to do that sort of thing with it because because obviously I've had music on my PSP and you
Mhm.
could then make a short video, put music to it and things like that, and I was like, oh my god, this is like the future. And you could
So
use it
if
to
I
Skype
sorry.
as well,
So
which was
if I
so
can jump in here quickly, the thing is, the PSP, what I did, I have a pretty still close connection to that system because it was the first. It was the system that brought me to Japan for the first time ever. I was invited back then with Square Enix to fly over to Tokyo to take a look at 4 PSP games. That was Dissidia, that was Tactics Ogre, it was some Third Birthday, and some Monster Hunter like game.
oh, Lord
And
of Arcana, no, not Lord of Arcana.
exactly, yeah, I
Is
think
that
it
one?
was
Yeah,
that one.
was that? Yeah.
And then in the end, I got back. I took all the photos I took in Japan, put it on my PSP, and used it to show it to people. So it came somehow full circle.
That's really cool.
So for me, the PSP is still very much connected to with flights to Japan, and still today when I go there, I like buying PSP games.
Yeah, I like collecting PSP games. I think like they're nice. Although I have got a few that I played so much that the casing broke
Hmm.
on
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
EMD.
My Outrun did that.
Yeah, yeah. Outrun's one of mine, and Ridge Racer 2 is my other one. And you know the little metal bit inside inside the UMD?
Yep.
That came out of Final Fantasy Tactics because I played it so much.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah. So I was most annoyed by having those break.
I've got a
But
lot of
they're
discs
not
held together
expensive.
by sellotape.
Yeah, they weren't expensive to replace compared to, if I wanted to do that with like a DS game that was from Square or something, that
Oh
would
yeah.
have cost me a fortune.
I want to add
Um,
one more thing, by the way, about the PSP in Japan. So this is a fun story, I think. So I am at least partly responsible for one of the best PSP games out there. I found out on a trip,
Oh yeah.
and that is Tactics Ogre. Did you guys play that?
I would say it is in my top 3 games of all time. Yeah.
Yep, I agree very much. It's absolutely amazing, and I think the PSP version is the best one out there.
Hmm.
So what
Better
happened
than
is,
the new one. Like the one they
I
did
think so. Yeah,
recently, nowhere near as
yeah.
good.
The PSP one is clearly better, I think.
Yeah.
So what happened with that game is, when I was in Japan at that time to play Tactics Ogre, one of the PR guys took me aside in the end and told me it was partly my influence that this game was made because a couple of years earlier there was a press tour for Final Fantasy 12, and um, um, Hiroshi Minagawa was over here. He's the director, art director of these games.
Yeah.
And I also asked a couple of questions. It was okay about the Ogre games, and asked him to sign my copy of Tactics Ogre I had. I think on the
Oh, cool.
PlayStation back in the day. And then he seems to have gone back and told the crew in Japan, okay, listen up, people in Europe are still interested in the Ogre games. We should do something with these. So the Square guy said, I'm one of the people he wants to thank for getting this game off the ground,
That's
which I'm
amazing.
still a
Thank
bit
you,
proud of
Thomas.
today. I'm just
From the
yeah, that's
bottom of my
really cool.
heart, thank you.
doing my best here.
That game, I I hadn't played the other games in the series other than Ogre Battle on the N64.
Oh, that's
Um,
also so good.
it is, and that's what made when I saw Tactics Ogre, I was like, oh my god, this is a game I really wanted to play on Super
Hmm.
Famicom, never got to. And I didn't even know it had an American release on PlayStation either, so that completely skipped me. And yeah, so I was like, I need to play this game. I can't, especially being such a huge Final Fantasy Tactics fan. And I was just blown away by how mature the story was.
Hmm.
compared to even to Final Fantasy Tactics, which is still a more mature story than nearly all the other Final Fantasy games. And Tactics Ogre though just goes so much deeper. And there was one point in the game, I don't want to spoil it for anyone else, and they give you a decision to make.
I know exactly what you mean, I think.
I had to switch my PSP into standby mode and think about it and just be like, oh, well, I don't know what to do. And it was literally, I probably took about an hour trying to work out which decision I was going to make. And no game has ever done that. Like, not even things like Mass Effect and things like that, where they, the decisions are important. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see it because this is radio. But yeah, Tactics Ogre was just so ahead of everything else in a literary sense. It was incredible. Just
as you said, also one of my all-time favorite games, definitely. So back in the day when I was in Japan at the time, I bought the soundtrack in the Square Enix store. I went so far and asked the PR guys, okay, listen up, do you have one of these really nice retail posters for Tactics Ogre I could take home with me? So I got one of them, and I watched this thing like the apple of my eye in the plane. It didn't get any creases, and it's still hanging in my living room today.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah,
I foolishly sold my sealed copy because I got like a review copy anyway. So I sold my sealed copy when the Switch version came out, and I got that instead. But I don't. There's something about the original which I prefer. It doesn't quite hit in the same way.
Well, it's the leveling and things like that. The leveling that's done in the Switch versions, not Switch, but like the version that came out recently, was it Reborn? It ruins the game.
Yeah, that level cap is not a good idea, I think.
No, it just completely ruins it. I mean, when you get to the first battle, when you fight your former mate, and you literally go to it with a set level, and I remember having to grind for that battle because I got to it lost, and I was like, right, okay, well, I'll go back to my save and I'll grind for a bit, go back, and then I'll be able to take him down. And on this one, it's like, no, you've got to actually just try and beat him. And I was like, but it's impossible. He hits for like 100 every time. And at this point, you only have like a 300 health.
Some people like grinding. Allow them to. Give them the opportunity. Don't make the choice for them.
See, I'm personally, this is part of the reason why I don't get on with a lot of Japanese RPGs, because I know that it's like a trope of the genre, but in my mind, if you're requiring people to constantly level up in order to get anywhere in your game, it's poor game design.
I mean, you don't require them. You shouldn't require them.
I just
make
don't like
it possible.
Yeah. It's like, it isn't like, if you're doing it like with the Reborn one, there's different difficulties, isn't there, that you can start with, which
I think so. Yeah,
in the PSP one, and when you're playing, when you can beat him, it is possible, but it's just one, you just really have to work at it. Whereas if you just think, well, actually, I can't keep doing this over and over, I'm just going to have to grind and just be better than him. It's just an option, right? And that's that's the way I always look at it. All the grinding, it's like, it's a way to get through it. Wasn't that the design philosophy behind Dragon Quest, which was, you should never lose at this game. There should always be a way for you to be able to beat this without having
exactly.
I don't know. I mean, the amount of times I'd be stuck on a game, and then and again, I'd done everything you've gone to. I've not taken any shortcuts, not rushed through it for every enemy, not run away from quick times and all the rest. And then you'd go onto like Game Facts or something, and it would say recommended level, and you're anything from 5 to 15 levels below what is recommended to beat it.
Yeah, I mean, that shouldn't happen in a game.
I don't find it fine. Well, it's happened in more than enough Japanese RPGs that I just don't enjoy the genre very much. I like Fire Emblem and stuff like that. So I like all the tactics-based games, but when it comes to things like Final Fantasy VII, that style, and the Dragon Quest ones and that, I'm not. I just can't get on with them. They don't. I get why people like him, but they do nothing for me.
So the worst game that, well, it's actually a game I really like, but the worst ever example I've ever seen of that in a game for me was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where it's like you're an assassin and you should just be able to kill people. You can't. And there's one bit you're like 20 hours into the story and it opens up the next section and the first person you see is already 10 levels above you. And you're like, well, I can't win against them. And you're looking around, you're like, okay, I'm going to have to go back to an earlier island or an earlier part of the game and just start doing side quests and things like that and trying to level up because you can't just mainline through.
Yeah,
which to me, and that really annoyed me with Assassin's Creed because Origins didn't do that, and that was the first one that sort of took it in that RPG style. And then Odyssey was just like, oh, you know what? You're gonna have to actually do everything before you come to this bit.
I think one of the other issues as well is when you have games where specific areas are specific levels, so they don't scale it with regards to you. It's just that if you go over to here, everything is like 25 levels plus, but if you go over here, everything is like still 2 or 3 levels. So some areas you just like you can just rinse, and then others you're just constantly stuck because everything is overpowered. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of RPGs unless they're like things like Fire Emblem, where you don't seem to have as much grinding.
But well, I would say let's go back to PSP, okay?
Yes, I was about to.
Fire Emblem.
So the PSP, did any of you get any of the other peripherals? So like I got the camera, but they also released a GPS as well.
No, I didn't get. I think we may have got them sent into work, but I didn't really use any of them. I think what isn't it because obviously it was kind of that era where this stuff wasn't still particularly abundant on phones, so it was just another way to like make your PSP that little bit more useful.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And you'd have to then plug your PSP into the cigarette lighter in the car, because if you're going on like a more than a 2-hour journey, your battery on a GPS would die, because the GPS did suck the battery. Because obviously it's doing a lot more than just reading a disc. But yeah, I never had it, but I did know a friend who had it and used it quite a lot in his car. But yeah, it's not something for me. The only other thing they really released over here was the component cable, and then later the PSP Go dock. But in Japan they released a television tuner for it, harking back to the Sega Game Gear. But again, didn't make his way over here, and with good reason as well, because you really shouldn't be trying to watch TV on the PSP, especially the 1000. So the models were, so the first one was known retroactively as the PSP 1000, and that one,
the FAT, as they also called it.
the FAT, yeah, much like the original DS.
Or the PS3.
Quite bulky, or the PS3. Yeah, the PS3 was also quite a heifer, wasn't it? Yeah. And but yeah, so they followed that up then in 2007, I believe it was, with the PSP 2000, or the Slim and Light as it was known over here, which was a remarkable improvement over the original version, having a much better screen. The pitch quality was much better. The refresh rate was really good. Also, the system itself was much lighter and thinner. But it wasn't until the 3000 when the machine, I felt, really was at its zenith. Like, it was like, especially if you played a game with pixels, like say you played something like Metal Slug, and the pixels on the 3000 were just beautiful.
Yeah, super sharp, wasn't it?
So sharp. And I really like, especially playing Tactics Ogre on it as well. It looked stunning.
Yeah, I mean, 3000, that's the one to get nowadays. If you want going to get into PSP, that is the one.
But do not go for the PSP Street.
Yep,
that
that's
one is
the
awful.
one to avoid.
Yeah. I mean, not just because it doesn't have Wi-Fi, it's just that it looks absolutely awful, and it has mono speaker as well rather than stereo.
It also just feels pretty
it's so cheap.
meh.
Yeah. There was controversy back in 2006 when PlayStation released the white PSP.
Oh, that
Okay.
advert.
The advert, yes.
Yeah, that was
Oh,
that was
right.
terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about tone deaf.
So for those who don't know, in Europe, for some reason, PlayStation decided it would be a good idea to release an advert with a white woman overcoming a black woman, which
Didn't she have her hand around her throat?
she did, yeah, yeah, and it was quite a violent altercation by the look of it, and and it was sort of it was kind of a white power kind of moment from Sony. Much like Nintendo's "Whilst Thou Save the Princess or Play Like One" slogan was quickly removed, and did not see light of day again after that. But I don't know who in the marketing department was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea."
What
So,
could go wrong?
yeah, it was so stupid. Plus, the white one got really, really mucky really quickly
Yeah.
as well.
But I'm very envious of these amazing colors the Japanese folks got.
Yeah, they got some amazing colors, and they got some really cool bundles as well,
Oh,
and
yeah.
some special editions. Over here, we got very few special editions. I think we got the Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core one, and I can't
think so,
think
yeah.
of much else that got a special edition over here.
I can't think of anything at the moment.
No, I can't think of any. But that was a 2000 as well for Crisis Core, was it? Yeah, so it wasn't. If you do find one of those and you're really a Final Fantasy purist, that's probably a decent one to get. Because 2000 is still pretty good, not
Yeah.
3000 good, but it's still your second best option of the
So
PSP.
I must admit here, I've been playing on the 1000 for the longest time, really, and I only got a 3000, and I think in 2022 when I was in Japan, because at that time they were still very affordable, and I got a beautiful tiny red 3000,
Oh, nice.
and
Those
that's one
red
I
3000.
really treasure.
Lovely. Yeah.
And of course, thinking back now, these things were something like 30 pound for you guys, I think. I should have gotten the whole rack of PSPs back in the day.
Yeah, I had the 1000, obviously. Then I got a 2000 the day they came out, because I was like, I need to have that better screen, and I would like get the better battery life as well. And then as soon as the 3000 came out, and I saw an image comparison on the, I think it was a PlayStation blog maybe, and I just thought, wow, look at that. Look at those pixels. I have to get this one as well now. So I was day one on that. I was day one on the PSP Go. Just because I was like, okay, yeah, no, this will be great. I can just slide that into my pocket and take that with me, so I can have two, like the UMD one still here, keep that playing around the house, and then take the PSP Go with me when I go out, if I'm going on a journey or something. But I never got the Street. I did see the Street in person because one of my eldest son, he got one of those from his mum, not from me. I would never have inflicted that upon him. But yeah, it was a horrible little thing. Did you all get like the PSP Go as well?
I had the PSP Go, the PSP 1000, and the PSP 3000, and again I got them all launch.
Yeah, and I got a PSP Go for a very low price when they were just throwing them out after a bit after launch. Because, excuse me?
He's just going to go and answer the door.
Ah.
Yeah, we can stop for a minute. Let me just look at the time.
Yeah, sure.
How long has this been recording for?
Should be probably, I think, what, 45 minutes?
Yeah, 45.
Okay.
Yeah, 10 minutes before that, wasn't it? Yeah, so 45 minutes. I can keep an eye on that.
Yeah, the thing is, I made this list of games, and I just thought, okay, maybe I just write down my 10 favorite PSP games. And at this point, my list is something like 50 games long or so.
Yeah, that's why I was like, okay, let's go ports and PSP like originals, because I just thought, you know what, if we go lists, I could be here for a good day. talking about my favorite PSP games.
Yeah, the library is so vast; it's amazing.
It's such a great library. The other thing I really loved about Tactics Ogre was Alexander O. Smith's translation.
Yeah,
It
was just wonderful.
It was really good. Just using Old English it just made the game feel so much more impressive.
Yeah, it just gave it more weight in a way, I think.
Yeah. Oh God, I love that game so much.
And that soundtrack, it's absolutely brilliant.
It is. It's an incredible soundtrack. It's easily one of my favorite soundtracks from a video. It's just absolutely brilliant. And I love, like, on the PSP when you can go on the XMB and you hover over Tactics Ogre and it just does the the menu music.
Yeah.
You're like, I could just listen to that all day. Yeah, it's so good. I love the fact that the Evilist games all have that same sound. Obviously it's the same composer, but
yeah, these guys are great.
Yeah.
It just helps for continuity as well, doesn't it? It makes you feel like you're part of that world. Kind of like how you have the Avengers movies and stuff, and they've all got that same bass theme. So you know what it is. As soon as you hear the chords strike up, it's like, yeah, we're in for a good time here.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Darren's back. Okay, so PSP, we've spoken a lot about the actual machine. So we should probably start talking about games that aren't Tactics Ogre. So I was going to talk
If we have to.
Yeah, I should probably do an episode on Tactics Ogre because I love that.
Generally, I mean, an ogre episode, I would be all in for that.
Yeah, I think I would be up for that actually because I've now played more in the series, so I do know a lot more about it. So I was thinking we could probably do this in a different way than just listing our favorite games. So I was thinking we could talk first of all about like impressive ports that made it over to the PSP, because there are some on there that have no right to be as good as they are. Like, they're just incredible ports. Okay, so we don't need to. So I'm just going to throw my first one out there, and we can probably all talk about it. It's probably all on our list, which is Outrun 2006 Coast to Coast.
Yep,
it's on my list. It's fantastic.
How the hell did Sumo Digital get that running like that on the PSP and looking as good as it did?
There is we did answer this in either Retro Gamer, or I wrote a making of the game on the Play magazine. Yeah, it was quite impressive how they did it, because I mean, when you consider the PS2 version is already pretty impressive, because they obviously had much less RAM compared to the arcade version. And then the fact that they were able to squeeze it onto the PSP. I mean, it's actually my favorite racing game on the system. I just love it. I absolutely adore Outrun 2, and to me, you can never have enough of it. And even obviously, it hasn't got the most stablest of frame rates, but it's still pretty damn good.
I
and
was
then you
about
can
to say
obviously
so.
overclock it. But yeah, I mean, it's astonishing that they were able to cram something like that onto. I mean, it was astonishing that they got it onto the PS2 in the first place, but the fact that they were able to get it onto the PSP, and then you had obviously the extra unlockables, if you like connected it to the PS2 version. It's brilliant, absolutely superb.
And like you say, you can overclock your PSP as well and give it a little bit more RAM, which makes it run a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, just getting my doing the Lindemann here, it's usually targeting 30 FPS, but it's usually mostly below that a little bit. Still, ton of fun.
It is. It's still a fun way to play it. And being able to play that portably as well. Back in 2005, 2006, wasn't it? Back in 2006 was just insane. It really was. Do you want to shout out anything else, guys? Because
yeah, I mean, I absolutely have to shout out the various M2 collections, of course. So M2 made, for example, that Parodios collection. I think I know that for certain that they made the Twin Bee collection, and I think this is also the time when they made a name for themselves. And if you like Konami shooting games, PSP is you're in heaven, because you get the Gradius collection, which has also, for example, Gradius Gaiden on it, which is brilliant.
Yeah,
Then you
Salamander
get
collection.
Yep, Salamander, which has Sexes on it,
Yep.
which is fantastic. Then you have Twinbee, of course, and my favorite, of course, is Parodius,
Oh, the
where
product
yep,
is so good on
they
PS.
had to change a little bit of music in I think in the second one, but still, so that is so good.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
I,
it's
I can
more it's
agree.
more of a remake rather than an actual port. But actually got a soft spot for Castlevania: The Dracula X Chronicles,
It's fun, yeah.
and not just because it's a solid representation of the original game, but just for the fact that you've obviously got the original game and Castlevania Symphony of the Night locked away on it as well.
Yeah, it's a great collection, I think. It's a collection and a remake, so it's all you could want from it.
Yeah.
And I also like the fact that you have to unlock the bonus games within
Yeah.
that remake. I mean, it might maybe scare a few people off because it's not an easy game, but I think it's something to work for and something to appreciate.
Oh, absolutely. And again, today it'd just be, pay an extra £3 to unlock them.
Yeah.
So there's something to be said for like being rewarded for playing your games beyond actually just obviously the playing of them.
Mhm.
Oh, Tekken
Yeah.
5 Dark Resurrection was good as well.
Yes, that was
Also,
one.
mind-blowing. Namco did
Yeah.
wonders on that thing.
I mean, that's Tekken 6 and Soul Calibur. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah,
they
Soul
all
Calibur
look
is excellent.
incredible on that, and they all run so well, considering the limitation of the hardware. Another one I'd say is Street Fighter Alpha 3. That's
Mhm.
fantastic on
Got a load
PSP.
of extra characters as well, hasn't it?
Yeah,
Yep.
and obviously you've got there's more modes in it and things like that. So it is if you were playing it on a TV, it's probably like the definitive way to play it. if you can play it on you can't you, on a PSTV? So via the
That should be
Vita
possible, yeah. True.
yeah, and then you can plug in a Saturn USB pad and play on that. That'd be handy.
Well, what is also wild, I think, is that Power Stone collection on the PSP.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
mean,
I would argue it's not the perfect system for Power Stone because it's a single screen multiplayer game for the TV, but still, playing it on the go is fun.
yeah, it is. And this is like all these ports they did. You just think, wow, like these are on the go, And in 2005, 2006, it's like this is just what I always dreamed of when I first got my Game Boy. It was to be able to play real, like proper games that I play on my TV, but while I'm sitting on the sofa and do it, and have the TV on in the background. The other
There's a lot
things
of really good compilations as well, isn't there? Like you've got Activision hits, you've got the Namco one, you've got EA Replay, which isn't amazing, but it's pretty much the one time EA's ever like really delved into its back catalogue. So yeah, there's a lot of great stuff on the PSP. If it hasn't got
nice
actual
Mega
like
Drive one as
retro
well.
sequels, yeah. There's a Mega Drive one, which it's just got some cracking
There's
compilations on it.
two really good Capcom collections as well.
Yep.
You've
Taito
also got
collections.
Taito on there. Yeah, still no Chase HQ anywhere to be seen. I am gonna figure out why that has never been re-released.
It's got to be a license thing, surely, because they look too similar to the licensed cars, even though they're not.
Yeah, but you can get away with that because Grand Theft Auto has without ever paying licensing for cars, which look similar.
Would it be not something stupid like the actual guy who does all the voices when you're chasing after them, or Nancy? They can't get the licenses for them, so they're not doing it. It's going to be something like that. Because
if that was
They
made in the
probably
2000s, maybe, but back in the 80s, they wouldn't have had any voice contracts or anything where it would have just been using whoever was available in the office.
yeah, I mean, fun fact, we talked about it already. Castlevania, Rondo of Blood. They got a new voice actor for the intro in the PSP version.
Yeah, that's true.
Because as you all know, it has that famous German intro, which was this is actually really perfect German already on the PC Engine. So I think they just got some guy from they knew some guy from the street maybe. Okay, help us with that text and please speak it. So you could hear it's not a pro, but he's doing a good job. And then for the new one, they got the voice actor who does Hugh Laurie in German.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's a pretty big one, and he was very famous at the time because of House MD.
I've seen Hugh Laurie, when I used to use Twitter, actually comment on how good the German voice dub of him was.
It's really good, yeah.
He said when he got an award, I think it was, and he was like, my German voiceover actor said the name, I can't remember what it was, and was like, you really deserve this award too.
That's nice.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that's really good. Hugh Laurie seems like a good guy. So, but yeah, it was such a good reworking of that original opening. It really was, and it really did feel more powerful as a read from the actor as well. It's really good. I was thinking as well, another one that I really like, so this is probably like completely like not in either of your fields, but was Colin McRae Rally 2005.
Yeah, I didn't play that.
No, I didn't think so, but I love rally games, and yeah, this one was a kind of pared back from the PS2 and the Xbox and PC versions, obviously, but it still was a lot of fun. Plus, it looked really bloody good and ran really well. Codemasters did some really really good stuff on the PSP, especially like Tucker Race Driver 2. I think, or was it 3 that was the better one? I can't remember. I played them all, and yeah, because I love racing games. But yeah, Cody's were absolutely fantastic with those ports. But another one which I thought were another two actually was did either of you play the PSP version of Gun?
No, I didn't.
No, simply because I thought that it wouldn't be a patch on the Xbox 360 version.
Yeah, it's not a patch on that one, but it is still. I still really enjoyed it. That's the version I played. I did play the 360 one for a little bit, but because I'd already played it on PSP, I was like, I know this story. I don't need to keep playing this now. But I played it all the way through on PSP. Absolutely loved that game. And then the other one I was going to call out was Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like, how did they get that on the PSP? That still blows my mind that was on the PSP.
But Battlefront 2 or Battlefront 1? Because Battlefront 2 was that one with all the microtransaction scandal back in the day.
Oh, no, not that one. The original Star Wars Battlefront 2.
Yeah, that's the EA one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the EA one that you're thinking of. This is the one that was from
was it Pandemic?
Pandemic, yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I found really cool about the PSP is that at least in Europe and Japan we had some amazing PlayStation 1 ports of games that are sometimes hard to get. So we had stuff like, for example, we had Breath of Fire 3, which is nice, not my favorite, but still it's good to have.
Very boring, yeah.
I very much agree. It's one of the most boring I've ever played. But then we also have Tales of Eternia, which is, I think, pretty good, and it's coming back soon for the Switch as well.
Yeah,
and we got a Popolo Coif that was not released in the West before that.
Is that how you pronounce it? I've always wondered.
I think it's French Popolo Coif, I think, like croissant.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense, because I've never dared say it aloud. But I have.
My interpretation.
I played it and I loved it. I thought it was a fantastic game. But yeah, I had no idea how to pronounce it, so I've never ever spoken it aloud.
Yeah, I'm just really glad we got that finally localized.
Yeah, I couldn't believe we got that localized. Did that get an American localization?
That's a good question. I do not know.
No, we don't need to know. We're not American. But yeah, the PSP was able to handle some really really good stuff. One thing that I did find hilarious though was the fact that when Street Fighter Alpha 3 came out, they released the little clip-on for the D-pad.
Yeah. They did the same for Tekken as well, though, didn't they? There was a there was a D-pad that you could stick on top.
Yeah. Which was really cool, but you could also get the same effect by sticking a 2p coin on the D-pad.
I never tried that.
Blue stack, which I did until my one arrived from Lixang. because it didn't come out over here. But yeah, you had to import a D-pad, which was mad. But yeah, until it arrived, I was using a 2P with blue tack to play Street Fighter Alpha 3. So, which it must have looked very stupid for people seeing me on a bus or train with this 2P stuck to my console. But yeah, you could do it, and it was absolutely fine. I do remember seeing that in a magazine at the time as well as a trick, and I was like, oh yeah, I could do that while I wait. Because this was when things took a little bit of time to get over here from overseas.
Yep.
So you'd order something and wait until you've forgotten about it, and then it'd turn up. So yeah, so we could really now move on to the best original PSP games. So these are ones specifically made for PSP. They've obviously later been ported to everything else because that's what happens. But some haven't.
Not unless it's Metal Gear Acid 2, which is amazing.
Yeah, the Acid games are absolutely. I love both of those very, very much.
Yeah, I think they were really underrated back when they came out because people were just not ready to try that way of playing Metal Gear.
I wasn't a fan of the original, if I'm honest. I think the second though is incredible because it pretty much fixes every single issue that the first game has, and it has quite a lot of issues, particularly when it comes to card selection and basically the interface. The only thing that lets it down is you've got that awful pervy 3D box camera thing with it. But other than the perv factor, Metal Gear Acid 2 is like a magnificent sequel because it just improves on the original in every possible way, and it's got a far better story as well. And you could obviously carry over and start with a bunch of cards if you'd completed the original game.
Oh, right. I never did that. So did that read the save file then?
Yeah. So you start off with some cards and extra points and stuff. So because I remember completing it, and then when I found out that, and I didn't have my save, so I replayed the original again, and I was like, I don't think it's good, and it's shocking that they've never like re-released them on PSN or anything. But Metal Gear Acid 2 is magnificent, so good.
Yeah, I've got Acid 2 on my hacked Vita, which I do enjoy playing still.
So
Thomas,
okay, if I may, then of course we have to mention Monster Hunter.
Oh, absolutely! Freedom
Because I
Unite is
think
the best for me.
no other game is so closely connected to the Vita as Monster Hunter, because I would argue without Monster Hunter, it wouldn't have sold anywhere as well as it did in the end.
Yeah,
Because I mean,
particularly in Japan, because it was
of course,
more
it
a
made the
social thing,
most
wasn't it?
sales. Yeah. So
Because
I can
everyone
tell you
would get
about that.
together.
I was in Japan when they released one of the Monster Hunters on PSP. I think it was the last one, and they were everywhere. It was breathtaking. So really, you go on the train somewhere, half the people are sitting there with a PSP in their hand playing together. You go out to Shibuya, people are sitting on the benches playing Monster Hunter together. It was a phenomenon.
Yeah,
And yeah, I mean,
they're impressive.
speaking
They're impressive games.
speaking of those sales, I mean, people always have this impression, yeah, the PSP was kind of a flop, wasn't a big deal. Do you guys know how much that thing sold?
Oh, that's more US bollocks, though, isn't it? Because it
Yeah,
sold
of
around
course.
85 million units, and I think this is the thing. You can't have two handhelds that do really well. You have to have winners and losers. And while
Yeah.
you could argue that obviously the PSP came a massive second to the DS, for your first handheld to sell like 85 million units is astonishing.
From what I
And
can see, by the way, is about 76 million, but still, it's a ton.
and
yeah,
but you have this narrative, and I see it a lot on YouTube, and it I don't want to say that it's
Yeah.
all Americans, but it's largely led by Americans saying like the PSP wasn't popular, or it paled in comparison to the DS, and it's like, it sold a huge amount. It was a staggering success. In fact, the only really weird thing about it was that they made the PS Vita rather than a PSP2, and it took them so long to do a second console.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the Vita is its own podcast, basically. It's very
Oh,
cool,
yeah.
but it was also really held back by some stupid decisions from Sony.
So I think those stupid decisions start with the PSP, right? Because you've got Sony, who are this massive corporation. They have their own movie studios, they have their own music division. And yet this thing did not launch with the ability to be able to go into a store, purchase music, purchase movies, rather than just you as well as buying UMDs. This thing would have been a much bigger thing, I
Yeah,
think,
but
if that was
that's
all
Well,
was
available.
Sony though,
yeah.
wasn't it? Look at what they did with the PS3. You know, they brought out this console, and you didn't have trophies initially. You didn't have full Blu-ray access for things like in window commentary. And the PS3 to me was always like, here's this amazing house, and you buy it, and then you find out that half the rooms still aren't built. And eventually it became this really cool thing. But I think a lot of people forget that about the PS3. There was so much stuff about it when it first came out, which was half cocked, and they got away with it because the PS2 was such a staggering success.
But we should also keep in mind, I think, that when the PSP came out, we were still not really ready for buying music and everything digitally, I think. I think it was
Well,
just a bit too
iTunes
early.
was out, and
Yeah,
you
Was it
could
iTunes was
already?
out. Yeah.
yeah, so you would just plug so on your PC, this one, it didn't even need to be on the system itself, but a store that you download,
Mhm.
like a client that you download on your PC, and like
Okay, that was there.
iTunes, that was there, and, like, they could have done that. Like, they did
Oh, you're right.
eventually do something
The
like it,
iPod was
but
out, yeah. The
and the iPod
iPhone
was out,
wasn't.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I don't know how they missed that. It's just very, very bizarre. But Monster Hunter, as you were talking about,
Yeah, very
I
big
never
deal.
got into Monster Hunter until the Switch, but the Switch one, whatever one.
Rise.
Yes, Rise. That was the first one that I really got into, and I've
That
since
was a
gone
good one.
back and now really like Monster Hunter. I think I got put off because I bought the PS2 game and I didn't like the PS2 game. So
Yeah,
I
it
think
had
that's
weird
why.
controls.
Yeah, I didn't like the controls and I didn't like the game. I was like, "Oh, I don't like this."
It was kind of
But then,
cut
of
down as
course,
well, wasn't it, compared to the original Japanese release, just like the Resident Evil games that came out.
the European was, I think, yeah. I think the American had it all on board still.
Uh, but yeah, for
But
me
I mean,
though, I
playing Monster Hunter on the PSP, you also had to use the famous Monster Hunter claw because of the way the buttons and the D-pad was used.
yeah, I like being able to play that now on a Vita, so you can just put the
Oh yeah,
put the second stick as the camera, which
that
is
is a lot
quite
nicer.
nice. Yeah. But yeah, I was going to talk about so I'm going to really just talk about a developer before I do a game. And it's going to
Hmm.
be Ready at Dawn, and they
Hmm.
released 3 absolutely incredible games on the PSP.
Yep.
So the first being Daxter, which is a great portable platformer from the Jack and Daxter series, and right up there with the best of Jack and Daxter. It's a really, really great little game. And then obviously God of War, Chains of Olympus, and God of War, Ghost of Sparta are
Very impressive.
very good games. I think Ghost of Sparta is my favorite of those two. Mostly for story more than anything, but
Yeah.
the way that those games look and play, it's just like they managed to make them not just here's the PS2, PS3 experience of these games. It's like, no, these are how these should work in a handheld with these limitations.
I think
And
one of
they
the things that really impressed me with them when because I played for them on PSP, and I've also got the compilation on PS3, and it's just, even though you're obviously playing it on a tiny screen, you still get that fantastic immense sense of scale that the PS2 and the later console games always managed to pull off.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's it's a near perfect translation of the home console experience, but with all the issues of playing on a handheld taken into account, and they're both fantastic games. Easily need to be in anyone's collection.
yeah, and I'd say the same for Daxter. That needs to be in everyone's collection as well. As if
Yep.
you like platformers and you like the Jack and Daxter, well, the original Jack and Daxter game anyway, it's way more like that in tone than it is Jack 2 or Jack 3. But it is a really good game. But yeah, Ready at Dawn, like 3 app, like that's a really strong pedigree for one developer on the system. Just 3 absolute bangers. Yeah,
Are they still going, or have they been shut down?
they got bought by Meta and are shut down. Yeah.
Oh, of course they fucking have.
Yeah.
It's such a shame because I love that, because I'm one of the few defenders of the Order 1866. I think that's a really good game, and it still looks better than nearly anything that's out there. It's stunning, and I was so gutted that they never got to do a sequel or improve upon it at all.
Yeah.
It's such
That
a
was a
shame.
fairly early PS3 game as well, wasn't it?
PS4.
PS4, sorry.
yeah.
But a fairly
PS4,
early
yeah.
one.
Yep.
Yeah.
I suppose
Yeah.
we need to talk about Peace Walker.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was that to me was when I was like, okay, Metal Gear can be so much more than what it was.
Well, it's like a dry run for 5, really, isn't it? At the end of the day.
And it was originally called Metal Gear Solid 5 when it they had some. Well, it was before E3, and they had the actual signage up on like ready to go up on the booth. But by the
Right.
time they announced it, they dropped the 5. So all of the signage was taken and like just left to the side. And I think there's probably pictures online that you can find of it. But it was called Metal Gear Solid 5 Peace Walker. So it was meant to be the next Metal Gear Solid game.
Yeah,
I
it makes
wonder-
sense because if you consider how big the PSP was in Japan, you got a lot of sequels to big home console games. Same with
Yeah.
Valkyria Chronicles, for example.
Yeah. And I think that I think what probably scared them off was like, oh, we're going to announce this in America.
Yeah.
And PSP is nothing over here. We should probably drop the 5 and just call it Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker. Because it did have the number 5 as well. And Metal Gear Solid 5, when it came out, had the Roman numeral 5. So it was different. Whereas the rest of the series had the Arabic numbers. So, yeah, it's... so it's definitely meant to be the next game in the Metal Gear series. And the thing is as well, the one thing that completely changed that game to the others was the ability to crouch and walk.
Yeah.
Just doing that, and you're like, this is like 1,000 times better to play already, just because I can crouch and walk. Because like when you play Metal Gear Solid 3 and you're in the like before like the new remake, obviously you can do that. And in the 3DS version, you could crouch and walk. But in the original, you couldn't do that. And it made the game so much worse. And it was a massive limitation. As soon as they put that into Peace Walker, that was it. I was like, well, I can't go back to Metal Gear Solid 3 the way it was. No, I just can't. It's like, it's stupid that you can't crouch and walk. And it looked amazing as well. And I loved the like the comic book style cutscenes as well. They were really good.
Well, it's re-released again soon, isn't it? Isn't it going to be on the next compilation with Metal Gear 4?
Yeah, and Ghost Babel as well.
Oh yes, that's good. The Game Boy Color game.
Yeah, I like to think of that as the Lost MSX sequel.
Yeah, I would agree.
Another couple of games I want to call out are the Pursuit Force games.
Very impressive stuff.
Yeah, absolutely
Great
love
tech.
those. Yeah, and the first one, that must have been close to launch, surely that one. But yeah, I had that.
Not that close.
But I remember getting it and just thinking, oh my god, this is so much fun. Like it was really hard.
But there's your Chase HQ that you didn't get.
Exactly. I'm like, oh my god, this is like Chase HQ, but I can jump from car to car. This is amazing. And yeah, as I'm a huge Chase HQ fan, to me it was like, oh my god, this is like the evolution of Chase HQ. But yeah, I absolutely adore both those games, and you can play both those on PS5, which is cool.
Considering the love you guys have shown, rightly shown, it should be said, for Tactics Ogre, I'm surprised neither of you have mentioned Jeanne d'Arc.
I can tell you why, because it does one of the things I really hate about these games, because that's when they just put in a turn limit.
Fair
But that
enough.
stresses me out to no end.
See, I'll take that over grinding any day of the week. I guess
I-
different strokes for different folks. But yeah,
Yeah, I guess we just have both white whales.
I was surprised. I was surprised that it didn't get mentioned because again, that was never came out over in Europe, did it? It was Japan
Didn't.
and US only.
yeah,
But
which is weird
it's a cool
considering
game.
it's based on a French story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Very
Which
weird.
is so bizarre. At least Napoleon got French release, didn't it? On the
It did.
GBA. Yeah.
Yep.
Where, yeah. But yeah, I really enjoy Jeanne d'Arc. That again was another game that I've sunk a lot of hours into. But as soon as I played Tactics Ogre, I was kind of like, I never want to go back to that.
Did you did either of you play the Persona games? I know they were like updates, but
Yeah,
Yeah, they were.
yeah,
I would say they were remasters or even remakes.
yeah.
especially 2. Which one? Because did they do both the versions of 2?
Only one in the West, I think.
They did one in the West, didn't they? Yeah, because I remember getting that. Was it Ghostlight Games who did the release over in Europe?
I
Yeah,
think
they
so,
go
yeah.
for a pretty penny now, I think, on the second-hand market.
Yep, they do.
Yeah, I got Persona 2 and Persona 3 portable, with like the big box versions that they did of those from Ghostlight, and yeah, I played a lot of those. And the thing is as well, I kind of really enjoyed Persona 3 more as a portable game than I did on PS2, just like because of the cuts they made to it, and it just made it feel like a much more intimate experience.
Yeah,
You know?
more bite-sized as well.
Yeah,
Bite-sized even.
It's also the only one where you can play as a female protagonist.
yeah, that is true. Yeah, I've completely forgotten about that.
Speaking of female protagonists, I've got a soft spot for the third birthday. I think that's really cool. It's obviously a very different game to the first two Parasite Eve games, which are obviously different to each other again. But I just find it a really interesting series, which while it stumbles more often than it strides, it does really interesting stuff.
There is some really good
Yeah, I
stuff
mean,
in, and it has got some really good gameplay hooks. But
I mean, it's made by the guy who also made FF15 in the end, Hajime Tabata.
yeah. Oh yeah, he did that, didn't he? Forgot about that.
He was very, very active on PSP. I mean, he's also the guy behind Final Fantasy Type 0 as well.
Yeah, which I have now played the PSP version. When the English
Yeah, I think that is really the one you should play. And I mean, that HD port is nice, but you can feel it's a PSP game at heart.
Yeah,
I like
we
the
should play it.
Dissidia games as well.
Yeah, Dissidia and Dissidia 2 are
Mhm.
really
They're
good.
fun.
And yeah, they're really fun games, and I do like the whole combat and the story progression through it and things, especially the second one where they really did, except they gave us too much lightning, I felt, in Dissidia. I can't even remember the numbering for it. It's like 0, 12,
Duodecim something
Duodecim,
something.
yeah. But yeah, they gave us a bit too much lightning back when no one wanted to have much more lightning. Now I do. Now I'm like, I could do with some more lightning.
I would love to have a remake of or remaster of 13.
Yeah, I mean the thing, not much needs done to 13.
Yeah.
Like it just needs to have a bit of an upres.
Resolution, give it a few more FPS, and we're fine.
Yeah, it's a stunning looking game even today.
But speaking of Final Fantasy now, Crisis Core is also a real stunner, I think.
Yeah, absolutely, and that was the game that really blew me away. Like when I was starting to think, maybe I'm not so into the PSP anymore, and then Final Fantasy VII or Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII came out, and I was like, this is brilliant. I absolutely love what they've done here. The combat
music is
so
fantastic.
interesting. Oh, and the end of that game. Again, speaking of it, I was in tears, even though you know the ending. I was still like, I wasn't expecting it to be that hard.
Wonderfully. It's just how they made that, how they really put it into the gameplay, not just cutting it. Really, you play that ending, and you really. I mean, I don't want to spoil too much here, but I have rarely seen such a clever connection and such an emotional connection between story and gameplay.
Yeah, and
And
it
again,
let you play those final
yeah,
moments, and you're
and the
like, oh
way
my god,
you get your hopes up all the time because the wheels appear again, but it doesn't
yeah,
help you anymore
yeah. And it's like,
because you
oh my
just
god,
it's fantastic.
it's
And then
so
what I can
good.
tell you about that, I had for Crisis Core also I was at a press event with Kitase was there and another guy, I think the director. So I came in the night before I finished the game at the press version. I came in and said, "Nice to meet you. Just want to let you know I finished the game yesterday." And they both said, "Yep, we're very sorry, but we had to do it." That was a great reaction, I think.
Yeah,
But yeah, of
it
course,
was.
they're right.
Yeah, I mean, they had to. There was no other way of doing it, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, ask look at the remake right now, but another story.
I told the thing is like my son's been getting into Final Fantasy VII through the like remake and
Mm.
whatever the second one is, Rebirth.
Rebirth, yeah.
And I said you really have to play Crisis Core before you play
Mhm.
Rebirth, and he was just like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because Zack, right? Zack is in Rebirth, and Sephiroth is way more prominent in Rebirth, and you need to know this story. Like, you really do need to play
It
this
really
game to
improves
see
it,
it."
yeah.
Yeah, and so I let him borrow my digital copy on Switch,
Mm.
and which I've never played. I have no idea what it's like.
Oh, it's a good part, I
um,
think.
and yeah, and he didn't play it, and he just started Rebirth, and he was like, what is this Zack guy? And I'm like, mate, I lent you the game, play it. It's really good. It's really good. But yeah, because it doesn't look as good as Rebirth, he didn't want to touch it. Was his reckoning. I was like, oh.
It's his loss.
Yeah, I was like, you're really missing some really good story. It's probably the best of the Final Fantasy VII story, to be honest.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I don't really like the compilation stuff. I think, I mean, um, the movie is pretty bad, to be honest, right?
awful. Yeah,
Dirge of Cerberus is just, yeah.
yeah,
But really, Crisis Core is the one that really works.
yeah. It does, and I thought it was an absolutely great accompanying piece to Final Fantasy VII.
Yeah.
Like, it exists as it. Well, at the time, you think, oh, it's just a cash in, but then when you play it, you're like, this actually works so well into
Yeah.
Final Fantasy VII. And
Yeah, it brings the
especially
world
the remake.
alive.
Yeah, it's really good. Another one that I touched on earlier was Resistance Retribution,
Mhm.
which was a
Isometric, wasn't
third-person.
it?
No, it's third-person shooter from Ben
Oh, I'm
Studio.
thinking of Killzone, sorry.
Yeah, Killzone. Yeah, I can't remember what that one's subtitled. Oh, Liberation. Killzone Liberation is the PSP one, which is actually pretty good. But Resistance Retribution was like, it was kind of like a return to the original Resistance in the World War II setting, and but this time you're parachuting into France with a guy with a really bad British accent, which really offended me. I was like, could you not have got someone British to do the British accent? I mean, there are a lot of British voice actors out there, and then you've got this American doing a British accent, which is the worst. It's like worse than Dick Van Dyke. Like, it's so bad. But yeah, it's a fantastic game though. Like, it really is a really, really good, competent third-person portable shooter. And I played it again recently on PS5. I say recently, probably in like last year or so, and it holds up pretty well as a console game. I was quite surprised by that. Any
Yep.
other games from you guys that?
I mean, of course, Luminous is a big deal.
Yes, yeah.
It may, of course, look simple, but it's maybe one of my most played PSP games out there. I played the first one really for days on end. It was a fantastic game. The music is still somehow stayed into my mind. And same goes for the second one.
I think the
And
music's
then,
better in the first one
Yeah,
than
I'd
the second.
agree with that.
But I do
yeah,
love
it's just
the second one.
I
But I
have
just think
I
the
have
music's better.
a soft spot for it because again that uh, not that I'm bragging here, but when I was working at that magazine, one day Mizoguchi was coming by. Sounds absolutely bonkers nowadays, but just Tetsuya Mizoguchi is coming by the office. They called me, listen up, he's coming in. Do you want to come? Because we don't know what to do with him, and you know his games best. Well, sure, I'll do it. So I came in, and And we sat there, we talked for a whole afternoon. We played some games. We played Luminous 2. He showed me that video, that song he made, Heavenly Star it was.
That's a really good
So
track.
yeah, that game really, I like Luminous 2 a lot.
Yeah, I do too. I just there's something about the Luminous 1 soundtrack to me which is just
it just feels a lot better balanced.
yeah.
Does a little bit of
Just,
everything.
yeah. There's a
And I mean, it's the iconic one, simply.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're beyond a doubt. The Loco Roco games are obviously worth mentioning as well before we move on,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
they're a lot of fun. The kind of quirky, weird stuff you wouldn't expect to see. But you know, they escaped from Japan and they're excellent.
Same
on
goes,
that
of course, for
note,
Patapon.
Yeah, Patapon. Who the hell would have thought you could do a rhythm action battle strategy
Yeah.
game? And yeah, here it is, and it's absolutely wonderful. Great music, beautiful art. Oh, so good. Same goes for Loco Roco as well. Beautiful art, great soundtrack. And another one that I want to point out, that I want to probably touch on is Patchwork Heroes, which was
Yeah,
a
that was
game.
cool. I remember that.
Absolutely brilliant. So you playing you're a little character and you cut the patchwork is to like for your battle system was basically cutting through patch, and it's it's such a bizarre idea, but it came out and it's absolutely brilliant. Obviously the PSP was where the Everybody's Golf series really took off because it it hadn't I didn't know anyone who played the PS2 or the PS1 games that I knew. I did and I liked them, but it was playing especially Everybody's Golf 2 on PSP. That was why I was like, this series is just unmatched for me. I could not stop playing Everybody's Golf 2.
They're so well suited to the to portable play as well. In fact, Everybody's Golf was the other Japanese game I had at launch, and I liked it so much that I ended up buying the US version when that came out as well.
Yeah, it's such a great series, and it really did start to become a better known series thanks to its PSP outing. I'm trying to think of and the other ones, obviously the Wipeout Pure and Wipeout Pulse.
Yep,
They're
both
Good stuff.
Yeah. But the other, I'm not going to talk about the game I worked on, which was Medieval Resurrection, because that would just be too much. But there was one other game that I really enjoyed, and that was Ratchet and Clank Size Matters.
I didn't play that, but I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it was much more in line with the original Ratchet and Clank than the sequels. So it felt a lot more focused on the platforming and exploration side of each level, which kind of went away, and they became way more third-person shooters after that. And yeah, I really enjoyed that. And the thing is, you can play that on PS5, and I was playing it on the PS5, and it's actually more fun than Rift Apart. Because it just feels like what Ratchet and Clank should have always stayed, rather than it going off and just becoming just a third-person shooter. A very pretty third-person shooter, but I absolutely enjoyed that. I enjoyed that quite a lot. I think it was High Impact Games who made that. Who knows what they're up to these days?
Before we do move on, did any of you play any of the numerous PSP mini games that came out?
Yeah,
Some of those were really good.
That's where I got into Velocity. Velocity and
Yeah.
Velocity.
Velocity, superb. You had a lot of SNK arcade releases on it. You had Pinball Illusions and Pinball Fantasies. You had the Pix and Love Rush.
Oh yeah, Pix and Love was great. Yeah,
there was some really good stuff on there. It was kind of like a lot of them. Some of them obviously felt inspired by like Java mobile games, but we used to review quite a few of them in the magazine back in the day,
I
And
mean, you even had
yeah,
Angry
there's
Birds
some
on the
really nice
PSP.
stuff. Yeah. I think that might have even been one of them
It
as
was,
well.
yeah.
Well, they also had a decent version of Pac-Man Championship Edition with
Yep.
the mini as well,
Hmm.
which was actually really good. There was a game. Was it Where is My Heart?
Yeah, that was really good. That was a platformer, wasn't it, where you had to leap up and get the heart,
Yeah,
and they were like single screen levels.
yeah. It was a
Tetris,
really,
there
really
was an
good game.
excellent version of Tetris as well,
Yeah, that was
which
EA as well, which was bizarre. Like EA
yeah,
do in that mini, but it was a really solid version of Tetris. Like one of the best that one of the best that had been out for years at that point. Other than Tetris DS, which is still like
which is
the
incredible.
GOAT.
Yeah, no, the
Um,
PSP minis was good, and you could play them on your PS3, couldn't you, if I recall correctly?
yeah, they were cross-buy across PSP and PS3, and then obviously Vita as well. So they did carry forward quite well. But yeah, there was some absolutely brilliant minis. There was God, what was that game? A space shooter for $2, which is a vertical scrolling shooter, and that is actually not shit, despite the fact that it has like the most horrendous icon art I've ever seen for a game. But it's a really, really well made shooter, and it is like £2. Well,
Who's
it
That
was.
Flying as well is a really
Yeah,
good shooter.
God, who was that? Mediatonic, wasn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I
that, yeah.
think they did a monster, like popping up the screen monster game as well, possibly.
Yeah, that was God, what
Like
was
you
it?
played a vampire or something, maybe.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it's called though, and it's really bugging me.
Monsters Stole My Princess or something like that, or
No, they were good. They were the Holy Invasion Privacy
oh yeah, that's
Batman.
that one, isn't it? God, but I
They were
know the
like
game
But
you
these
mean
were
because I have played
2D
the
full-size
dungeon keepers.
full-size games.
Yeah,
Yeah, they were 2D like 2D dungeon keepers. They were really cool.
they
But
were
yeah,
really cool.
I can't remember what this other Mediatonic game was, but it was Monsters Probably Stole My Princess. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
There's also a couple of games I wanted to mention quickly because they're just on my list, and I think they should be at least mentioned in a podcast like this. So, for example, we had a couple of really great Ys games. E6 was not that great on PSP, but then you have Oath in Velgana was fantastic. E7
Yeah.
was really great. 1 and 2 was a lot of fun. So, good time for Ys fans. And also, we had, of course, Trails in the Sky, which is
Yes.
came to the West first on the PSP.
Yeah, I got all of those games with the big boxes from America.
Yeah, they're really fancy. Yeah.
They're so good, and you got like cloth maps and
Yeah.
everything, and oh my
Smirking
god,
Signs all over again.
yeah, it was
You
just
also
like,
got.
oh,
Sorry.
I was going to say it was like having like, but in Britain it would be like the Amiga games that or in Europe you
Yeah.
had them as well. It was like getting the Amiga games with all that stuff inside the big
With the
box. It was like,
feelies.
oh yeah, I was like, so good, and yeah, I got
Yeah.
all of those on UMD. And who was it? Who did the translation over there?
It was Exceed, I think.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Exceed. Yeah.
And before that, you had 3 other Legend of Heroes games, which were pretty much forgotten nowadays, but they are perfectly fine RPGs, I think.
Yeah, they did do
And
others as well.
also,
Yeah. Oh, and what was
very.
the Brandish? They did Brandish as well on
Oh, yeah.
PSP, which was really, really cool. Like it was just a remake of the Super Famicom game, wasn't it?
Yeah. Did you guys ever play Brave Story on PSP?
No.
No.
I would say that is one of the secret best RPGs on the system. It's made by Game Republic, so that's a company of Yoshiki Okamoto, former Capcom guy, who also did Genji, stuff like that. And it's a great looking RPG. It's based on the anime, but it's a parallel story to the anime. So you meet some of the
Oh,
characters, but you do your own thing most of the time. And it has a great battle system, great
I
music,
have
and
played
everything.
this. Yes. Yeah, I have played this. It's really bloody good. I didn't know it was based on an anime until much later. And I completely forgot the name of it. I was thinking of Brave Fencer Musashi when you said that.
Yeah, that's
The
the
PS1
PS1.
game. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's why I was like, no, I've not played that. But now, yeah, I have played that. That was a really bloody good RPG.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sadly, very overlooked, I think.
yeah, fantastic battle system and everything. I love that.
And then, of
Um,
course, when you go to Japan and look at the stores, you have really tons of otome games or visual novels and stuff like that. You, of course, can't play if you don't speak Japanese.
yeah.
But you also have a lot of really good music games. You have a ton of Hatsune Miku games, for example. You have K-On!, you have Idolmaster, and they are all very playable in Japanese.
You got the
Yeah.
DJ Max games as well that came out in the US.
It came out here as well. We got the digitally. We got the DJ
Oh, did
Max.
it? Oh, yeah. No, they did physical copies. I think in the US and Japan, obviously. But
Yeah,
they're good fun.
yeah. I got the first one digitally, and I really enjoyed that. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There's also this really cool puzzle game. What was it? Kurin? Fusion, something like Kurin Fusion, something like that. It's got music from Final Fantasy composer, like long.
Uematsu?
Yes, he did some tracks for it.
Ah, nice.
God, what was its name? It was yeah, I'm gonna kick myself. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look this up. Sorry, this is really bad.
Please do it. In the meantime, of course, we also got 2 Seventh Dragon games in Japan, which, of course, again didn't come out in the West, but they both got fan translations now.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, it is Kurin Fusion, and it's another block puzzle game. But yeah, it's like a kind of a bit like Columns, but it has absolutely fantastic music.
You had the 2 Exit games as well. They were good puzzle games.
Oh yeah, they were fantastic as well.
I mean,
Yeah.
in all fairness, there are so many good PSP games that we could probably go for another 2
Yeah.
hours, just like listing great games.
So
Yeah.
if I may, I want to mention one really bad game now to maybe finish that off. Is that okay?
Yeah. Go for it.
Did you ever play Brooktown High?
No.
No, never heard of
Oh
that
man,
one.
Never heard of it.
Enlighten us.
Brooktown, it's an absolute car crash of a game. So imagine now you're Konami, right? And you make the Tokimeki Memorial games in Japan, which are very successful. Now you can do two things. You can say, okay, listen up, anime is getting big in the West. Let's just bring Tokimeki to the West. Or you can say, let's make an incredibly ugly, Americanized sort of dating game at a high school with completely terrible characters and hope it goes well. And that's what they did, and that became Brooktown High.
And I take it didn't go well.
Not at all.
Uh,
It's hilariously terrible. I bought my copy for like $3 not too long ago, and I regret nothing.
Yeah, if it's that cheap, it's worth it, isn't it, to see how
Yeah.
bad something is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just the idea of seeing this American-made dating game that has let's try to do the Tokimeki thing somehow, but with its completely different settings and messed up gameplay and messed up everything. Basically, the characters look just cursed.
I'm just looking it up now. Yeah, that looks horrendous.
It is.
Wow. Sorry, I'm literally looking at it at the minute. It looks so bad. Yeah. One more thing before we wrap.
Yeah.
Did any of you play Ad Hoc Party?
I did not.
No.
So, for those who don't know, Ad Hoc Party was an application on the PS3. You would then connect to your PSP to your PS3, and then you could play online multiplayer
Huh.
with PSP games that had local multiplayer. So this was really good because the servers, like for trying to play something like Phantasy Star Portable 2, were like not very populated. But if you went on Ad Hoc Party, you would get games, and it was absolutely brilliant. And soon, I was able to like make actual friends through PSN and keep playing Phantasy Star Portable 2 online after they shut down the actual servers for it, so you could keep playing it through Ad Hoc Party.
That's pretty mad.
Yeah, it was so good. And it was I played Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker that way as well online. Yeah, it was such a great little feature of the PS3 that you could do that for the PSP. Yeah, really, really cool. I think that service is dead now though, unfortunately, because you can't even connect a PSP to the PS3 anymore.
Just like the PS Store will soon be for the PS3.
Yeah. I mean, I'm surprised that's lasted as long as it has, to be fair.
I mean, lasted in quotation marks. It's not really working anymore anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I think and it had some terrible prices. The prices haven't changed for years, have they? So there was no like good deals or anything like that. So
I mean,
they just haven't done anything with it.
The one thing, of course, you should do is go to the Japanese PS3 store because they have a ton of really amazing deals there. They have lot of great PS1 games, and they have all the Sega Ages games from M2.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's good.
So
I've
these
got all of
games,
those. Yeah.
they go for a ton of money nowadays, and if you want to get something like Phantasy Star or something like the Treasure Box, you get them for something like $5 or so, and
Yeah.
that's really worth it.
Yeah, that one's that's
It's
the
a
rest
hassle
of the,
though.
that's going to keep going until next year, isn't it? The Japanese store, same as Europe
I
and
think so, yeah.
America.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised they last as long as they did. To be honest, like 20 years, which is amazing. Because when did 360 store die? Was it like 3 years ago, wasn't it? Like they killed the Xbox 360 store.
Probably.
So it's going, yeah. So it's still going, which is mad.
Well-
But yeah, the PSP for me, I really have a real special place in my heart with it, just like I do the DS as well. Those two I can't separate from each other. I just can't.
Yeah, I mean, they
are
just
so
really
interlinked.
wonderfully just complemented each other in a way.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
I'd agree with that. They're they excel. They both excel in doing very, very different things, offering you very different experiences. And if you were lucky enough to own both of them, you had a plethora of fantastic games to enjoy.
Yeah, I
You
mean, the
do.
thing is, for me, that generation, PS360 and so on, was for me the worst generation in games we had. And it was the PSP and the DS that kept me going.
Yeah, same. Absolutely the same for me. Yeah, I would spend so much time on my DS and my PSP, and my home consoles didn't get that much of a look in, if I'm honest. Not compared to what it did. It was only the occasional thing of, like a new Naughty Dog game, like the Uncharted, The Last of Us, that sort of stuff. I'd be drawn back to playing PS3. And Mass Effect on Xbox, it was that sort of stuff. But it was most of my gaming time was DS or PSP, and it just stayed that way. I mean, I can't ever say I'd prefer one over the other. They both do something so differently, but at the same time, giving me that same enjoyment of playing these wonderful games, these different games, but in a really personal way, which is portable. I find it a much more personal experience to play with a handheld, which I think
I
is a
agree.
very weird thing. Oh, okay, cool. Someone does agree. I thought I was just weird.
Yay.
But yeah, it's just that personal thing, isn't it? Like of having a portable system, it just feels more even if you live on your own, you've still got people coming around that want to play on the big TV, right? With
I
you
mean, which
on
is
your
why I love
console.
my new Steam Deck now.
And it's like, now you can just be like, no, I have my own stuff. Thank you. These are mine. But yeah, thank you both so much. Have you got anything you want to shout out before we go?
No, I think I'm all good. Thanks.
Well, of course, if I can. If you're in Germany, which is, I don't know if we have actually German listeners,
We
go out
have
and buy. We do?
22 German listeners.
All right, guys, listen up, all the 22 of you. Get M Games. We're still a print magazine. We're still around doing our best with interviews and reviews and really in-depth reporting on the game scene. And yeah, check us out. I think we're doing a good job.
Oh, if we're plugging mags, then obviously I'm gonna have to plug Retro Gamer. So Retro Gamer, it's been around for 22 years. Covers pretty much anything you want about retro games, and I think we recently had a making of Patapon in one of our issues.
Oh, nice.
So
Cool.
if you can, in fact, was that the Assassin's Creed issue, or was it the issue that's just come out?
Might have been the one that's just come out, because I haven't read that yet, and I haven't seen the Patapon one.
Yeah, so look for Codemasters, a Codemasters cover, and inside you will find a making of Patapon.
Cool. I will, because my one's sitting there. I haven't read it yet because I haven't had time, but it's sitting on my chair behind me at the moment. As it's something that I keep. I have like a book and a magazine on my chair in my office that I keep thinking one day I will be able to sit down and read one of these things. But it usually takes me like until the next issue of Retro Gamer arrives for me to be able to read the next one, to read the last one.
Well, the good thing about Retro Gamer is it never goes out of date because it's already out of date.
Yeah,
Good point.
exactly.
Yeah.